Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to Finance 360 Degree session. So today we are going to discuss the specific initiatives from the Payments Vision 2028. Okay, so this is our last session on the Payments Vision and this is a very important document from the RBI Grade B examination point of view. Even for NABARD Grade A also this is a very important document, as there is the medium term strategy roadmap that has been laid down under the Payments Vision 2028 for the evolution of the payment and settlement system in India. Okay, so this is a very important document from the objective point of view, from the descriptive point of view. And in today's session, we will discuss the specific initiatives that have been mentioned under the Payment Vision 2028. So let's get started without any delay. Give me a thumbs up if I'm clearly audible and the screen is visible. So I hope there is no background noise. I hope there is no problem that is coming. The screen is visible and I am clearly audible. Okay. So now before starting with the session, there is a big announcement for all of you that from 4th April, there is going to be the price hike for the regulatory body courses. So if you want to purchase the EduTap's regulatory body courses, if you want to purchase the RBI Grade B, SEBI Grade A or the combo courses, from 4th April, there is going to be the price hike of up to 30%. Okay. So if you want to join and if you want to buy the EduTap's course, this is the best time to buy the EduTap's course, because from 4th April, the prices are going to be increased by up to 30%. Okay. So if you buy the course today or if you buy the course tomorrow, you will get the courses at the previous price with the 77% discount. Okay, so there is also the 77% flat discount that is going on if you use the code one time 77. So if you are a serious aspirant who has decided to prepare for any of these regulatory body examination and who want to purchase the EduTap's course, then today or tomorrow you should purchase the course, because you are getting the course at the previous price with a flat 77% off on the old fee. From 4th April, remember that the prices are going to increase by up to 30%. Okay, so now let's get started with today's session. So we have discussed about the Payment Vision 2028. So RBI has been periodically preparing the Payment Vision since 2001. Okay. Now the RBI has released the Payment Vision 2028 for the duration up to December 2028. How many specific initiatives have been mentioned under the Payment Vision 2028? So there are 15 specific initiatives that have been mentioned under the Payment Vision 2028 that have to be undertaken in the next 3 years. Okay. So this, the core theme of the Payment Vision 2028 is shaping India's payment frontier. Okay, so this is the core theme. And the Payment Vision 2028, it has the dual imperative, or it focuses on the dual areas. One is to consolidate and strengthen the existing systems and the existing infrastructure while pioneering the future payments. Okay, so the dual imperative or dual focus of the Payment Vision 2028 is to consolidate and strengthen the existing systems and the infrastructure while also focusing on the future of the payments. Okay, now Payment Vision 2028, these are the two sections that we have already completed in the previous session. So I have taken a detailed session on the Payment Vision 2028. I hope you have seen that previous session in which we have discussed the section 1 and section 2. Today we have to focus on the section 3, that is the specific initiatives of the Payment Vision 2028. Okay, so today we'll focus on the specific initiatives that is for the Payment Vision 2028. Any confusion? Chalo. Now, specific initiatives. Well done, Ashish. Now, we have already done the 2 sections. Coming to the 3rd section, this document is still what? This document is valid up to what? This document is valid up to December 2028. What is the theme of this document that you have to remember? Okay, what are the dual imperatives? Consolidating and strengthening the current systems while also pioneering the future payments. So these are some of the points that you have to remember from the Payment Vision 2028. Now coming to the specific initiatives, starting with this. So coming to the first one, the facility for the remitter, that is the sender. If you are sending the money, you can enable or disable the transactions in your card. So usually when you do the Amazon payment, you see that okay, your card is blocked or your card is not available for transaction. You have to permit through your mobile phone. So you can enable or disable the transactions through your card, through your debit card, through your credit card. So customers can already switch on or switch off, that means enable or disable the domestic and international card transactions. So the customers, they have the better control over the usage, that where the card is being used, for what kind of transactions the card is being used. So customers can already switch on or switch off their domestic and international card transactions, giving better control over usage. Now it has been proposed under the Payment Vision 2028, it has been proposed to extend this feature to all the digital modes, that is the UPI, wallets, net banking, so that you can enable or disable the transactions. Okay. Let's say I know that for the coming week I do not need the UPI, or I do not need to use the wallets because I will be using the UPI, or I do not need to use the UPI because I have money in the wallets. So I can disable the UPI so that the frauds and such kind of activities, nefarious activities does not happen. Okay, so there is the proposal to extend this feature to all the digital payment modes. When you want to actually transact, then only you can enable the system. Okay, so this is the idea, that the facility for the sender of the money to enable or disable the transactions on any digital payment mode through issuer challenges. This will contribute towards controlling the frauds in digital payment transactions. So basically, if there is the facility to switch on or switch off the domestic and international card transactions, then the same facility will be provided to the other digital payment systems. Now, reports on cross-border payments, domestic trends, global development, strategic implications for India's payment ecosystem. So RBI shall publish basically report on cross-border payments. So it has been proposed that RBI shall publish regular reports on cross-border payments covering key metrics such as the volume of the cross-border payments, the cost, what is the cost of the cross-border payments, the transparency, the speed, the performance of the various channels. So if through different channels the payments are happening, the cross-border transactions are happening, so what is the performance of the various channels, which channel is performing the best. The RBI shall publish the regular report to also track the global development in the legal, regulatory and technological and the process advancements, so that we can also develop seeing the global developments. We have to benchmark India's progress against the global trends, and the reports shall also identify the gaps and the areas of improvement in the cross-border payments domain. See, when we have a report, then we can see that, okay, where we are working better and where we are not so better, or where we can improve. Okay, so that's why it has been said that proper reports have to be constituted for the cross-border payments by the Reserve Bank of India, so that through these reports we can identify the key, we can cover the key metrics, we can see the key metrics, we can track the global developments, and we can identify the gap and the area of improvement while assessing the impact of international development on India's payment system. Okay, so this is the idea, that we have to publish a report, the RBI has to publish a report on the cross-border payments, so that we can see the domestic trends, global developments, strategic implications for India's payment ecosystem. Okay, now coming to the next specific initiative, that is streamline the cross-border payment authorization under Payment and Settlement System Act 2007 and the Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999. So till now what happens, that the authorized dealers, the authorized persons, they are authorized by the Reserve Bank of India to do the transactions or to buy and sell the foreign currency. Okay, to buy and sell the foreign currency against rupees, or to buy the rupees against the foreign currency. Okay, so this is the basic idea, that the authorized dealers or the authorized persons, they are authorized by the Reserve Bank of India to do the transaction in the foreign currency, to buy and sell the foreign currency. So in order to facilitate cross-border transfer of funds, the entities, the authorized dealers, the authorized persons, they need to seek authorization under the Payment and Settlement System Act and the Foreign Exchange Management Act. That means they have to take the authorization under the Payment and Settlement System Act, and they have to take the license under the FEMA. So there was the duplication of efforts. If you want to become the authorized dealer, or if you want to act as an authorized person, you had to take the authorization under the PSS Act, Payment and Settlement System Act, and you had to take the license under the FEMA. So to improve the efficiency, there is a single window application process that shall be considered. Okay. So to improve the efficiency, a single window application process that shall be considered. This will allow the firms, this will allow the entities to enter the market faster and at lower cost, because the authorized dealers, they will not, or the entities that want to become the authorized dealers, they will not have to take the authorization in the PSS under the PSS Act and license under the FEMA Act, there will be a single window application process that shall be considered. This will allow firms to enter the market faster and at lower cost instead of navigating multiple approvals. So this will enhance the ease of doing business. Okay. So before, there were the two areas from where the authorization and license were required, but now there will be a single window application process. So this is a very important initiative. Okay. Next is review of cross-border payment ecosystem. See, the domestic, when it comes to domestic transactions, we have so many of the tools. We have so many of the infrastructure. We have UPI, we have Bharat Bill Payment System, we have Aadhaar enabled payment system, we have RTGS, we have NEFT. But when it comes to the international transactions for the cross-border payments, we do not have so many of the infrastructure. We do not have such developed infrastructure. Okay, so basically there is the need to review the cross-border payment ecosystem with an objective to increase the efficiency of the cross-border payments. First of all, cross-border payments, they are very important for the India's trade and remittances. The exporters, the importers, they need to do the cross-border transactions. We need to get the money from outside, or we need to send money outside. So the cross-border transactions, the exporter and importers, for them it is very difficult right now, or it is complicated right now to get the money or to send the money. So it has been said that the cross-border payments are vital for India's trade and the remittances that we receive or the remittances that we send. Efficient payment ecosystems, they are critical for reducing the remittance cost, the cost of transacting the money between the countries. But these payments, they are very complex due to multiple intermediaries, due to multiple jurisdictions. We are exporting to Middle East, let's say we are exporting to USA, we are exporting to the UK, we are exporting to Germany, Italy, and the other European Union nations. So we are exporting to so many of the countries. Now these different countries have different regulations. So the cross-border payments become very complex due to the multiple intermediaries, multiple jurisdictions and regulations. So the global agenda shaped by the G20 also aims to make these cross-border payments faster, cheaper, transparent and accessible. RBI is actively improving the cross-border payments ecosystem. Okay. Now RBI, what is the proposal? That RBI shall undertake a comprehensive review of the existing ecosystem to identify the friction from the regulatory, operational and technological perspective to strengthen the India's cross-border payment landscape. Okay. So basically we have to identify that from where the friction is coming, from where the problem is coming, from which domain, from the regulatory perspective, from the operational domain, or from the technological perspective, from which area the problem is coming, the friction is coming, and we have to improve so that the cross-border transactions can become smoother and the cost of the cross-border transactions can be reduced. Okay. Now coming to the next one, that is limiting liability of the customers shared responsibility framework. If there is any fraud, digital transaction fraud that happens, so this is the responsibility and the liability of the issuer bank, that is issuing the money, to look after this digital transaction fraud and to take the liability for this digital transaction fraud. So basically under the limiting liability, so the existing limiting liability framework for safeguarding the customers from payment fraud, it places the responsibility and the liability exclusively on the issuer bank that is issuing the money, So if there is a digital transaction that is happening, if the payments are happening, that means there is a issuer, there is a sender of the money, there is a issuer bank, and there is the beneficiary that is going to get the money. There is the receiver of the money that is receiving the money in the beneficiary bank. So there is the issuer bank that is issuing the money on behalf of the sender, and there is the beneficiary bank that is receiving the money on behalf of the receiver. So basically right now, under the existing limiting liability framework for safeguarding the customers, it is the responsibility of the issuer bank to take the responsibility and liability in case of the payment frauds. Now it has been said that a shared responsibility model is proposed. Okay, under the specific initiative, a shared responsibility model framework is proposed where both issuer bank and the beneficiary bank, they share liability for unauthorized digital transactions, encouraging that both the banks, both the side of the parties, both the issuer bank and the beneficiary bank, they should take the liability, because if both the banks are taking the liability, if both the banks are taking the responsibility, there will be better fraud prevention that can happen, because rather than one bank being responsible to look after the frauds or to like close the frauds or to stop the frauds. Now there are two banks that will take the responsibility to stop the frauds. So this will encourage better fraud prevention, coordination, and stronger customer protection. Okay, so rather than only one bank being responsible, now both the banks should be responsible, should share the liability and responsibility for unauthorized digital transactions. Now coming to the next one, that is recognize the small payment system providers so that there is a perpetual regulatory sandbox. So now what it has been said that there will be a new category of small payment system providers that will be identified. Now these small payment system providers can be the small fintech companies that are doing some innovations in the digital payment domain, in the retail payment domain and such. Now because these are small fintech companies that are only creating the innovation for a small area that has very less risk, so these kind of small payment system providers will not need the authorization from the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, so to encourage innovation, a new class of small payment providers, system providers is proposed. So to encourage the innovation, to continuously keep on doing the innovation, to continuously have the innovations, a new class of small payment system providers is proposed, allowing them to operate without prior authorization from the Reserve Bank of India at early stages, because these are the small payment system providers. They are the very small payment system providers that are doing the innovation, but they have very less risk because they are the small entities. Okay, so they cannot create a big impact in the terms of the risk. Okay, they can do the innovations, they can create new innovations, but they have less risk because these are the small entities. So to encourage innovation, a new class of small payment system providers is proposed, allowing them to operate without prior authorization from the Reserve Bank of India at early stages, so that they have the freedom to develop their innovative products and services. So regulation would be applied later based on their scale of activities and the risk profile. The higher the risk that they are dealing in, the more the regulations will be basically. So this risk-based approach promotes ease of doing business while maintaining systemic stability. So in the initial phases, when the innovation is not very risky, when the scale is not very big, so then there will be no authorization that will be required, the regulations will not be there, or the strong regulations will not be there. But when the innovation is for the larger group of people and have more risk, then there will be more regulations, so that there is systemic stability that is maintained, the financial stability is maintained. This is the idea. Coming to the next point, any confusion anyone has till now? Any confusion anyone? No? Now, develop payments research and training capacity. Another specific initiative is to develop the payments research and training capacity. So the global payment landscape rapidly evolves. There are so many of the countries that are doing the different kind of innovations. So there are the new and emerging technologies. To keep pace with evolving payment technologies, it is proposed to enhance the research and training in areas like the policy making, risk management, fraud prevention, cross-border payments, cybersecurity. So these are some of the areas that you can see where we are lacking. Fraud prevention is a major issue right now because the digital payment ecosystem is evolving, it is developing, but we have to focus on preventing the frauds through these digital payment ecosystem. Cross-border payment is a point where we have to focus. Cybersecurity is the point where we have to focus. So now it has been said that we have to enhance the research and training in areas like policy making, risk management, fraud prevention, cross-border payment, cybersecurity, while building global and domestic partnerships with various central banks, international standard setting bodies, the payment system operators of our country and other countries, especially from the global south, for knowledge sharing. Okay. Next is cyber key risk indicators framework for non-bank system payment system operators. So non-bank payment system operators, like you must have seen the Paytm wallet. There is also MobiKwik wallet. There is also the Trades platform, the trade receivables discounting system. That is a payment system basically through which the MSMEs can get the instant payments or the instant money. Okay. Then there is also the white label ATMs that are operated by the non-banks. Okay, so these are the ATMs that are not operated by the banks. They are white label ATMs. That means these ATMs are operated by non-banks. There is also the card networks basically. So there are different card networks. These are the non-bank payment system operators because they are operating the payments. They are operating the payments. They are operating the payment system. Okay, the card networks like Visa, MasterCard, American Express, RuPay. So these are the card networks. They are the non-bank payment system operators. Okay, so this is the idea of the non-bank payment system operators. Now it has been said that it has been proposed basically that there should be the cyber key risk indicator framework for the non-bank payment system operators because they are operating the payment system. They are involved in the transactions, in the digital payment transactions, in the transactions they are involved. Even the Bharat bill payment operating units that operate the Bharat bill payment system and that operate the transactions, or they help in the transactions to be completed. Okay, so there are so many of the non-bank payment system operators. So it has been said that the cyber key risk indicators framework for the non-bank payment system operators shall be developed and implemented. This framework, now what this framework will do? What are these key risk indicators? So this framework shall assess and monitor the robustness in cybersecurity of such entities on a continuous basis, because the card networks, the Bharat bill payment operating units, the Paytm wallet, the MobiKwik, as well as the white label ATMs, they all these entities, all these units, they basically are involved in the transactions. They basically are storing the data, or they basically are getting the data from the customers. So basically this framework will help assessing and monitoring the robustness in the cybersecurity of such entities on a continuous basis. It shall enable RBI to systematically identify and monitor the key risk indicators across the industry, that in the card networks or Bharat bill payment operating units or in the wallets, in the digital wallet space, what are the key risk indicators. Compare the cyber resilience of different entities. So there are different Bharat bill payment operating units, there are different card networks, there are different digital wallets. So in the space of the digital wallets, which entity is having the least cybersecurity, which entity is having the most cybersecurity? So the comparison point will be allowed, and compare the cyber resilience of the different entities in a domain. Track their security posture over time, as also provide early warning signals to identify and monitor the potential IT and cyber risk. So basically it has been said that this framework will be for the non-bank payment system operators because they are not banks, so they are not regulated directly in a very strict manner. But these payment system operators, they are involved in the transactions, so that's why they should have robust cybersecurity. And this framework has been developed to assess and monitor the robustness in the cybersecurity of such entities on a continuous basis. RBI to systematically identify and monitor the key risk indicators across the industry in a particular domain, compare the cyber resilience of the different entities, track their security posture and such. Okay. Now, coming to the next one, review of design and security features of checks and explore introduction of electronic checks. So right now, if you have to give a check, what is the form of check that you are giving? The paper check? Even if we have the check truncation system that basically involves the digital transfer of the images and the MICR data between the banks. Till now, we only have the paper check. And the bank, they take the digital images of the paper check, they take the MICR data of the paper check, that digital images and that MICR data is transferred between the banks so that the check can be settled. But the check is in the paper format only. Whenever you sign the check, it is in the paper format only, right? So now there is the idea that it is proposed to explore the introduction of electronic checks. So in the electronic format, maybe in your mobile phone, in your laptop, you will see a check that you will sign digitally. So these kind of ideas have been proposed. So first of all, a review of design and security features. So building on the existing check truncation system 2010 standards, banks have independently implemented additional security features. Okay, so on the basis of the CTS 2010 standards, the banks have independently implemented additional security features leading to variations across the system, because the different banks are following the different security features for the check. A comprehensive review of the design and security features of the checks shall be undertaken by the Reserve Bank of India to enhance the uniformity, strengthen the fraud prevention. So basically, the different banks are following the different security features for their checks. Now it has been said that RBI should do a comprehensive review of the design and security features so that there can be uniformity that can be maintained in the security features of the check. So some banks have more security features, some banks have very less security features. So to maintain some uniformity in the security features, there is a comprehensive review that will be undertaken to strengthen the fraud prevention and ensure alignment with emerging processes. The review shall identify and adopt the best practices with the higher security features. Further introduction of electronic checks in India shall be explored. Okay, so this is the idea that electronic checks idea is going to be explored. Now facilitate enhanced access to payments data. So basically, with rapid growth in the digital payment ecosystem, it is proposed to create an AI-enabled user-friendly payment database, improving the transparency, monitoring, and supporting the data-driven innovation. This shall also serve as a single point of access for the cross-border payments data, which shall provide a unified dynamic view of India's cross-border payment ecosystem. So basically, in the whole point, it has been said that we need to have a database for our digital payments, and for the cross-border payments data also, this single access should be provided, or this single point of access should be provided. Okay, now coming to the next point, that is payment switching service. Okay, pass. So what is this? Basically, it has been said that, let's say, like, I get my salary in a bank account, let's say Bank of Baroda bank account. From this bank account, I'm getting the salary, as well as I am paying for my mutual fund, I'm paying for my insurance premium, I'm paying for the Netflix subscription or Jio Hotstar subscription or any other subscription, I'm paying for my MediBuddy subscription. Okay, for the medical app and such. I'm also paying for other subscriptions. Okay, let's say I'm paying for the AI platform subscription and such. So from my one account where I'm getting the salary, I am paying so many of the different subscriptions amount. Okay, now what happens that I want to segregate my salary account and my expenditure account, because I know that I am spending a lot from my salary account, and sometimes I'm not able to decipher that how much amount has been spent from this account. So if let's say I have a salary of 10,000, so I am sending the money to the other account, Bank of India account, let's say the Canara Bank. In this account, I have sent 5,000 rupees, that only this amount I will spend, and the rest 5,000 rupees will be saved in my salary account. So this 5,000 rupees that I am sending in the Bank of India account, I want to spend only from this account. That means I will have to transfer all of individually. I will have to give the instructions to the different mutual funds that I will be sending the money through this Bank of India account or Canara Bank account. The insurance premium, here also I will have to change the account details. For Netflix, Jio Hotstar, I will have to change the account details. For MediBuddy, I have to change the account details. For the other subscriptions also, I will have to change the account details. That will be a very lengthy process. So I will, after one or two subscriptions, I will get tired and I will leave this whole process. So now, to make the process easier to transfer or to change the accounts, to make the process easier, there is the pass that has been launched. Okay, or that is proposed to be launched basically. So customer face challenges in managing their payment instructions in case their account number changes. So if you want to change your account number from where the subscription amounts are going to be taken, so you face a lot of challenges, because you will have to individually you have to change the account details, you will have to change the account number and such. So if you want to shift from one bank to another, or if there is a merger of the bank that is happening, acquisition of the bank is happening, and you have to change the account number, you have to change the details, then individually you have to change all the details, which is a very lengthy and hectic process. To address this issue, the feasibility of implementing a payment switching service shall be explored, so that by one instruction, or in one instruction, I can easily change my account from Bank of Baroda, or I can easily change the transactions from the Bank of Baroda to Canara Bank. Okay, so basically this is the idea. It is envisaged as a centralized service that would facilitate migration of payment instructions, both incoming and outgoing, from one account to another. So I can easily migrate the payment instructions from my Bank of Baroda account to Canara Bank account. So this is the idea. Okay, so this is the idea that usually you face the challenge if you change the account. You have to like direct debits all the payment instructions that you have given, you have to individually change the payment details. You will have to individually change the payment details. So with the payment switching service, what will happen that there will be a centralized switching service that will be provided. You just have to give the authorization, and easily the new bank, the payment instructions will be created through the new bank. So this will create a seamless migration to new account. Using this functionality, customers shall be able to view all the payment flows linked to their accounts and initiate either a full or partial switch with appropriate authorization. So with appropriate authorization, you can do the full or the partial switch. Okay. Or let's say that I want to, from the Bank of Baroda, that is my salary account, I want to continue paying the mutual fund insurance premium, because these are the things that are the investment and for my health and such. But the leisure activities, I want to transfer it to the Canara Bank account, so that I specifically know that how much I am spending on the leisure activities and such. Okay. So if I want to segregate and if I want to send the payment instructions to the Canara Bank, this can be done. The partial transfer of the payment instructions can be done easily through this centralized switching service, through this pass. Okay. The objective is to provide customers with centralized control over their payment instructions, facilitate orderly transition during systemic changes like bank mergers. Now, coming to the next one, bringing entities. Yes, these initiatives are from the side of the Reserve Bank of India, that what initiatives RBI can take. Okay, so specific initiatives have been mentioned in the Payment Vision 2028. So that these initiatives can be taken by the RBI, and in the future the RBI will be releasing the complete detailed guidelines for each of these initiatives if the RBI continues with it. Okay, so bringing entities playing critical control in payments ecosystem within the regulatory ambit. So what is happening right now, that there are multiple fintech firms, payment apps that have become the new players which are very much involved in the digital payments in the transactions. These entities are no longer just facilitators, they play a critical role in executing and managing the transactions. Okay, so large e-commerce platforms, Amazon, Myntra, Flipkart, and payment intermediaries, they now handle huge volumes of transactions, store the customer data, and control the payment flows. So these aspects shall be examined in detail. RBI has to examine these details, because the large e-commerce platforms and the payment intermediaries, now they handle huge volumes of transactions. They store the customer data, like my UPI data or my UPI ID or the card details. They are getting stored if I do not tokenize my card details. Basically, they control the payment flow also. So these aspects shall be examined in detail, and if required, the scope of direct regulations shall be extended to cover such kind of entities also. On similar lines, the case of introducing white label solutions in Aadhaar enabled payment system. So Aadhaar enabled payment system, where you just provide your Aadhaar details and the biometric for the cash withdrawal or for cash transactions, for bank transfers. If you are not using the UPI, if you are not using the other services, you can use the Aadhaar enabled payment system, where you are giving the Aadhaar details and your biometric to do the basic banking, to get the basic banking services like the cash withdrawal, the cash deposit, the bank transfer, the bank statement and such. Okay, now it has been said that till now Aadhaar enabled payment system, these were under the banks only. The white label, now it has been said that there is the proposal to introduce the white label solution, that means the non-banks to conduct the Aadhaar enabled payment system, or to provide the Aadhaar enabled payment system. So on similar lines, the case for introducing white label solutions, the non-banks in Aadhaar enabled payment system, this can be seen, and bringing such assisted payment providers. Assisted payment providers means that usually the bank is not directly providing the Aadhaar enabled payment system. The bank is using the business correspondents, that is the extended arm of the banks, the agents of the bank, to conduct this Aadhaar enabled payment system. Okay, so it is said that we need to bring, or there is the proposal to bring such assisted payment providers within the regulatory fold. This would also be explored. So basically the idea is that there are new players involved in the digital payment ecosystem. The large e-commerce platforms, they are having a lot of data, they are having a lot of the control on the payment flows. So these aspects shall be examined in detail, and if required, these entities shall also be brought under the direct regulations under the Reserve Bank of India. On similar lines, the case for introducing the non-bank solutions in Aadhaar enabled payment system can be seen, as well as bringing such assisted payment providers like the business correspondent agents. They should also be brought under the regulatory fold. This is also proposed. Coming to the next one, These are the last two specific initiatives. Okay, reimagine the card payment in India. So basically right now what happens, that let's say you have card of the card network with Visa. Okay, you have a debit card or credit card with the card network Mastercard. Okay, or you have a debit card or the credit card with the American Express card network, or you have the debit card or the credit card with the RuPay card network. Okay, so these card networks, they work individually and separately. There is no interoperability between the card networks. So now it is proposed to build an open and interoperable card ecosystem so that the different networks can work together rather than working separately in their own domains. So right now the different card networks, they have their own system, and they are not interoperable. They work separately. So now it is proposed to build an open and interoperable card ecosystem like the UPI. Even if you are using the Phone Pay, even if you are using the Google Pay, even if you are using the Bheem UPI, all of this is using the UPI ecosystem. Similarly, it is said that it is proposed for the card also, for the card, credit card, for the debit card, to build an open and interoperable card ecosystem to promote competition and innovation. Enhance the security through tokenization. So tokenization, it is proposed that further we need to enhance the security through tokenization. Tokenization basically tokenizes your card details, your card number. Instead of the card number, the token is sent to the merchant, and instead of your CVV details and such, the token is the one that is sent instead of your card number to the merchant. So if like you must have seen, if you are paying through Amazon or Flipkart or Myntra, whenever you are putting in your card details, there is a question that comes from RBI that do you want to tokenize your card details for the protection. You can tokenize your card details. Basically your card number will get tokenized and merchant will only see that token. Okay, ensure greater choice and transparent pricing for users. So reimagine the card payments in India. There is further proposal to build upon the card ecosystem and to build an open and interoperable card ecosystem to promote competition, innovation, enhance the security through further tokenization, and ensure greater choice and transparent pricing. Coming to the last point that we have to discuss, implementing a uniform domestic legal entity identifier. So a unique identifier for the non-individuals. Non-individuals basically means entities, businesses that are not individuals, that are not people. Okay, so a unique identifier for non-individuals, for the entities, for the businesses, that would enable identification of parties to a transaction. This is crucial for managing risk in the financial system. In this regard, the feasibility. Right now, the PAN number is usually used to identify a particular entity or to identify a particular business. But now it has been said that there should be a case that should be seen where a uniform domestic legal identifier shall be studied. Okay, rather than having the different identification for the different entities. Some entities are providing their PAN, some entities might be providing their registration number, some entities might be providing their GST number. So there are different identification number that can be provided by the entity. Now it is said that rather than taking the different identification number for the different entities, there should be a unique, uniform domestic legal identifier that shall be studied, so that all the entities, rather than providing the PAN number or the GST number or the registration number, rather than providing the different numbers, they provide this uniform domestic legal entity identifier. Okay, and there is a system that can directly check that this domestic legal entity identifier is related to which entity, so that the fraud cases can be reduced. Okay, currently there exist a lot of different identifiers in India, each with their own specific purpose and features, and sometimes it becomes hard to check that the number is correct or not, because there are different platforms to check the number. Okay, so the DLEI, that is domestic legal entity identifier, if found feasible, they could be new or selected from the existing identifiers. Okay, so right now, the non-individuals, the entities, the businesses, for identifying them, there can be different numbers that can be used. The PAN number, the GST number, the registration number and such, the legal numbers and such. So right now it has been said that we need to have a uniform domestic legal entity identifier, so that the different entities do not provide different numbers, different identification forms. Okay, currently there are various identifiers in India, so we can choose from the current identifiers. It can be said that all the entities, they have to provide their PAN number if they are doing the transaction, or all the entities, they have to provide their registration number if they are doing some kind of transaction. Okay, so out of all these different identifiers, one identifier can be selected or a new identifier can be created for the domestic legal entity identifier. That is the idea. Okay, any confusion, anyone? Now, under the core theme of the Payment Vision 2008, these are the 7 areas under which the 15 initiatives that have been brought. So, to promote inclusivity and resilience, a framework for interoperability in trades is also proposed. This we had discussed in the previous session, in the original session of Payment Vision 2028. Now, to enhance safety in the digital payment, enabling or disabling transactions across the digital payment mode, the switch on and off facility, a shared responsibility framework with both the customer's bank and beneficiary bank, as well as the cyber key risk indicator. Now a question can come for the 10 marks. A descriptive question can come for the 10 marks, that to enhance the safety in the digital payments under the Payment Vision 2028, what are the specific initiatives? So these are the multiple specific initiatives under the safety. Or the question can be that to promote the inclusivity and resilience and to enhance the safety, what are the specific initiatives that were mentioned in the Payment Vision 2028. So you have to remember that under the inclusivity and resilience, the threats, framework for interoperability in threats, we had discussed this yesterday in the previous session, that in the threats there are 3 areas for development: the interoperability in the threats, the recourse, the factoring with the recourse, as well as there was the threats that should be provided for the export MSMEs also, okay, or the trade receivables discounting that should be provided for the export MSMEs also. So these were the 3 areas of improvement under the threats: interoperability, factoring with recourse, and export MSMEs discounting system for the export MSMEs also. Then to enhance safety, there is the shared responsibility framework, there is the switch on switch off facility, the cyber key risk indicators for the non-bank payment system operators, review of the design and security of the checks. Regarding cross-border payments, there is the review and the report that was also mentioned for promoting ease of doing business and convenience. It was said that the cross-border payment authorization, or the authorized dealers, the authorized persons, rather than taking the separate authorization and license under the 2 acts, there will be a single window platform. Okay, it was also said that the small payment system providers will be recognized for the ease of doing business. Okay, there will be PASS, that is the payment switching service, that shall be examined to provide flexibility to switch the accounts. To provide the fillip to research, to boost to the research pertaining to digital payments, dedicated research and training capacity will be developed. To promote systemic stability and integrity, entities deemed to be playing a critical role in facilitating digital payment shall be brought under the regulatory fold, that we have discussed that these entities, they should also be brought under the regulatory fold. This is proposed. Okay, next is that DLEI, to promote systemic stability and integrity, the DLEI is also proposed. Innovation in card payment space shall be encouraged so that there is interoperability in the card payment ecosystem and introduction of the electronic checks. So these are the 7 areas under which the specific initiatives have been brought. The question can be on particular areas also, that write a describe, like there can be a question that describe the specific initiatives under the safety and cross-border payments domain. Okay, so such a question can come, that's why you have to keep this in mind. Okay, now this is a objective question that you have to answer. See, from the Payment Vision 2028, just focus on the PPTs. I have given you 2 PPTs. I have taken 2 sessions. You have to remember the broad idea. You do not have to remember each and every line, but you have to remember the broad ideas. Okay, that under the safety features, what are the actions that have been taken. If you remember about the cyber keys risk indicators framework, you can easily write that, okay, there are the non-bank payment system operators for which there should be the monitoring on the cybersecurity and the comparison of the cybersecurity facilities that the different entities have. So just focus on the keywords, just focus on the key ideas. Okay, chalo. Now coming to this question, with reference to the initiatives proposed by the Reserve Bank of India under its payment vision, which of the given above are correct? Okay, so this is the question that you have to answer. Try to answer this question. Now, coming to the descriptive question, Payment Vision 2028 is anchored in the dual imperative of strengthening the existing payment infrastructure while simultaneously pioneering the futures of payments. Discuss the major initiatives proposed by the Payment Vision 2028 to achieve these objectives. So this is a question for 10 marks. Okay, you have to write 400 words. So even if you write the 5 to 6 initiatives, that will be good for the question. Okay, now this kind of question is more likely to come rather than specific areas. You have to remember all the broad initiatives. Okay, so this is the idea. Chalo. Now coming to the end of the session, now this is the big announcement that you have to keep in mind, that from 4th April, the price is going to increase by 30% okay, the price is going to increase for the regulatory body courses up to 30%. So if you want to buy the course, this is the time for you to get the course at the old fee with flat 77% off. Okay, so this is it. Any confusion, anyone? Yes, you should have the idea of the key initiatives. Okay, now join the Telegram channel, because in the Telegram channel of EduTab you will get the PDF of the session. Okay, so you will get the PDF of the session in the Telegram channel. See, you do not have to cram each and every line. You just have to remember the broad initiatives that have been taken. And when you are keeping in mind the broad initiatives, remember the area. Like when it comes to inclusivity and resilience, the threats improvement. When it comes to safety, what are the features for the safety? What are the features for the safety that you have to remember? Then when it comes to the other areas, okay, then you have to remember that what are the features in this particular area. Just remember the broad idea. Even if you see this page, this is the page that you have to keep in mind, because if you understand the cyber keys risk indicators, you do not have to cram it. You do not have to cram the PASS framework, because you know that if we are just switching from one bank account to another, so this is a centralized service that will help us to switch from one account to another for the payment transactions, for the payment instructions. Simple. So just understand the points and then keep this in mind, that under inclusivity and resilience, what are the point, under safety, what are the point, under cross-border payments, what are the points and such. Okay, so this is the idea. Chalo. Do not focus on cramming each and every line. That will not be possible. So focus on just understanding. If you understand, that's the idea. Chalo. Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining. Now I hope you enjoyed the session. You understood. So thank